Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. And if you want to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today we are doing chapter 77 of The World Which Is. It's well past noon when I feel like I can relax. We've been pushing ourselves with the help of Silver's music, and I figure that if they intended to chase us, someone would have caught up with us at this point. We're far enough, they won't be able to catch up anymore. Not that I'm particularly worried. The first time they had overwhelming numbers. The second, they had surprise. They can't chase us with all those people, I hope. And out here, we are always somewhat on our guard. Let's stop for food. I think we've earned it. We step off the road for the shade of trees. How do you know that how do you know what lightning burns look like? Ellen asks. My dad built a cabinet out of wood that had been hit by lightning. I don't remember the details of how or what got hit, just that this guy showed up at the shop with a cart full of them. That explained what it had caused those burns. That kind of branching pattern stuck in my head. I look at Brandon. You think it worked? That the kid's not going to suffer for helping us? He shrugged. He shrugs. He doesn't care. I mean, at this point, that's probably the right attitude to have. We did what we could. Worrying about it isn't going to change anything. It's just not that easy for me. The sky turns gray. The sky turns gray not long after we set out, then it rains. It's not bad rain. It's warm and not particularly hard, but it means we don't have the benefit of Silver's magic. We might have grown to rely on it. The rain tapers off after a few hours, and I call an early end to the day not long after that because walking in wet clothes gets not fun after a while. Brandon finds us a clearing not too far off the road, and he pulls me into the wood until we can't see the clearing. And before I can ask what that's about, he starts to undress and hang his wet clothing on branches. I'm taken by surprise. I know he has other equipment set. I need another equipment set for slots. He could move his dry clothing in there and just switch. I could have done that while walking, but the skies remained gray, and I didn't see a point of storing wet clothing in my inventory. Of course, this is Brandon, so the fact he's doing that specifically to make me uncomfortable can't be ignored. I mean, he's not exactly putting himself on display. All he's done is take pieces off and hung them until he's not wearing anything. And I want to look away, but I don't. Enjoying the view. Okay, now I know he did it on purpose. But that's the question, isn't it? I like guys. I've known that since I was 10. Fuck. If I didn't, Rich wouldn't have lured me away from town. Just like I realized then that I like girls too. The fact I like both took more getting used to than the fact I liked either. Grandpa Lewis is gay, Dad's straight, so I was well aware either was normal. Wrapping my head around liking both, that was a trip. But Josie's the one I liked. Josie's the one I liked. You're good looking. He stares at me in surprise, and that doesn't help deal with my blushing. The fact that I am forcing myself to take him in doesn't make it easy or natural. Being naked around others or seeing naked people isn't common for me. Even going swimming stopped being a place where that happened when we turned 12 and we became body conscious. Thanks. That I've unbalanced him helps, and I chuckle at the situation. Then I ask myself the big question as he stands there, still not posing, but not doing anything to cover himself up. Would I have sex with him? My gut reaction is no. I have Josie back home. She's the one I want to be with. Except I know that's not, that's the whole of it. I know that's the, not all of it. I was willing to do it back in Denver if that was the price I to be able to rescue Brandon. And I don't think I'd have felt bad about it if not for the fact I wanted out of that city immediately. I know I was ready to take Malcolm up on his offer. So if this isn't about, if this isn't that I'm adamant about keeping myself for her, what is it about? So if I ignore Josie, would I have sex with Brandon? How about Ellen? Okay, with her it's a no. She's good looking enough, but that I have to push myself so people will know I'm good attitude isn't attractive. Silver? Okay. But this is about Brandon. Well, guys in general, I guess. Because of Josie, never really thought about it. So would I? Under the right circumstances? Yeah. And knowing that is surprisingly freeing. And while it takes some effort on my part, I undress and put my clothes to dry too. And also, put my clothes to dry. I don't have to ask if he likes what he sees, the way he smiles as he takes me and tells me. The thing is that I've seen him look that way at fully dressed guys. I'm pretty sure he has. He had that same expression. He has that same expression anytime a naked one comes in sight. Unlike him, I'm naked only long enough to pull another set of clothing from my inventory and put it on. Only once I'm dressed does he put on a pair of worn shorts. Pair of worn shorts and nothing else. The way it pulls as his package, I have no problem imagining that's gotten a lot of guys into his bed. You took your sweet time, Ellen says when we return. There's a fire pit with a fire in it, a kettle on a rack over it. And a kettle on a rack over it. Unlike what you seem to think, Al, I do know how to take my time and make sure he enjoys himself. The horrified way she looks at him is actually funny. She overreacts way too much to anything he says or does. That didn't happen, I say. If I let her think he did something to me, she might blast him. Not going to happen, I add, for emphasis. Oh, really? There's challenge in his tone, and I laughed. You're good looking and you can be a nice guy, Brendan, but that self destructive streak of yours doesn't appeal to me. I shrug. Maybe if you start believing you deserve to be okay, I'll change my mind. He has no idea how to take that. Ellen doesn't seem to know what to think of me right now. Silver is the only one who smiles, and I wink at her. And she blushes. I'm going to have dreams. Definitely going to have dreams. Silver is a lot more comfortable sitting and just feeling for her magic. She makes it look downright easy. Not that I know if it's easy for her or if her skill level is going to up any faster than mine, but unlike me, she doesn't seem to be straining about it. It feels like it's been a month since I reached level 13. I don't need in it. It's only in combat situation that reaching a 3 is supposed to slow things down. Relax, Silver whispers. Tensing doesn't make it happen faster. Just feel for the flow, breathe in and out, in and out. It's easy for you to say that. I grumble and she chuckles. Still, it's not like I have anything else to do until Ellen says we're done. Louisville is, I want to say rustic, but that's not accurate. Different, that's for sure. I kind of lost track of time. I lost track of how long it took to get here. I gained levels and a bunch of skill from daily training, including the hunting part, my butchering gain, and cooking, and cooking, and cooking. Okay, that was already decent means that I, again, have more jerky than I know what to do with. Might be time to upgrade to something less basic to train on. Aether training finally went up to 14, so there's that. Sitting here at the top of the hill that leads to the bridge, looking at the city, well, Brandon says it's a city. I only really see trees. There's a clear definition in the trees that are within the city and those without it, those outside of it. Can't put my finger on what it is, but I can almost make out a line where on one side the trees are better and on the other just trees. You're going to love it here, sis. Brendan says, then he's walking again. The bridge was definitely made with magic. Even with the system, trees don't grow to have branches perfectly formed to support the platforms that make the bridge itself. They also don't grow on each side of the river that cuts the land here in a way that makes them lean toward each other in the center. Like every city, the entrance is guarded, but there's no gate, no wall either. But the river must be enough of a deterrent. Looks to be fast too. The guards are elven, being lanky like Ellen, with a elongated face. They're dressed typically enough in leather armor that lets them move comfortably. They each have a polearm, but being elven, I expect magic is their go-to weapon. They nod to us as we approach and don't stop us as we step onto the bridge. They don't even stop the carts to check what they contain. There's a relaxed atmosphere about them that can't be good for the city's safety. The bridge ends at a marketplace on each side of the thoroughfare. We're heading for the club? I ask. Louisville doesn't have one. I thought every city had an explorers club. Most do, but cities don't appear on the map fully form. They grow. Louisville only reached that stage a decade or so ago. Without anything to draw explorers to the area, it might be a while until it gets one. Might happen faster when we reveal Fort Knox, I say, smiling. Knowing I'm going to put one over Zender still feels good. Until then, we need to rely on inns and rooming houses, like everyone else. Let's go deeper into the city. Those here are going to rub us blind. Soon as we stepped out of the market, I understand Brandon's earlier comment about it to his sister. 8 out of every 10 person we come across is elven. Of the other 2, it takes a while before I see another human. The inn Brandon leads us to is off the beaten path, and before I can question if we shouldn't find one in a more traveled area, a minotaur steps out with a barrel over his shoulder. He stops and looks at us, clearly surprised. Brandy? He has a deep voice. You son of a bitch, you came back. He goes to step in our direction, and the only reason I don't equip my sword is that Brandon's completely relaxed. I said I would, Sam. Sam seems to remember the barrel is there. He dumps the water into the trough and drops it next to it. But you're a fucking liar, Brandy. He's before us way faster than I expect him to be able to move. Then he's got Brandon in his arms, hugging him so tightly, I'm surprised nothing breaks. I don't lie that often. Just offers enough to keep me guessing, I guess. He lets him go and looks over. Who are you traveling with this time? I'm Dennis. I offer my hand, his friend. I'm surprised at the lack of reaction to that when he shakes my hand. Okay, no. Everyone else I've met who's known Brandon always seems doubtful of this statement. That's Ellen, my sister, don't ask. I'll tell you later. And that's Silver. If you want some entertainment for the people in there, you will do well to talk with her. I'm a bard, she asks. Welcome to the Horn's Rest, he bellows. I offer good food, a restful atmosphere, and comfortable rooms. And great sex, Brendan adds, if you can charm him. Sam laughs, slapping him on the back hard enough. Brendan takes a step forward. Then he has an arm over his shoulder and they're headed for the door. Does it feel weird to either of you, I say, that Sam actually seems to actually like Brendan? He clearly doesn't know him that well, Ellen says. Maybe Sam's just the kind of guy who likes someone rough around the edges, like Brendan. We're just gonna. I need silver offers. Or maybe I offer musing. I'm here's partially to myself. Sam's the king. Sam's the kind of person who Brandon doesn't feel the need to pretend with. Ellen's snort isn't flattering, but I ignore it. Unlike her, I figured there has to be one person out there Brandon can be himself with. Seemed fitting. It's someone bigger and stronger than he is. And that concludes chapter 77 of The World Which Is. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter will be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the story, it is up for free on Royal Road. If you want to support me and read ahead of what's Royal Road, that's on my Patreon. We're about 10 chapters ahead. And if you are looking to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. Twitch and YouTube. I will get used to saying that. Links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.